So today I want to talk to you about the 3 questions you need to answer that will make your retirement decision an easy decision. So first of all, let's talk about money. How much is truly enough to retire comfortably? So we spend like 30 to 40 years in what's called the accumulation phase. It's when we're working and saving and working and working and working and saving for our retirement. Our Western culture is all about the more is better mentality, but that can keep us chained to our desks until we hit the magic age of 65. But what if we flip the script and instead of asking how much can I get, shift it to how much is enough? And I mean how much is truly enough? So it's really a very simple shift in thinking, but it's profound and can be the game changer that'll get you to early retirement. And likely this isn't something that you're going to do a deep dive into with your financial advisor, because their role is to help you get as much as possible, and that's a good thing, but it won't help you to figure out how much is truly enough for your retirement. So that's why I spend a lot of time with my clients digging into that question of how much is truly enough, because you likely won't explore it anywhere else. So I want to tell you a little more about how everything changed for me when I dug into that question. How much is truly enough to retire to a life I'll love? So for me, that started with a book called Your Money or Your Life, which I highly recommend. And as I figured out how much was enough instead of how much I could get, I started to crunch the numbers and realized that I could retire 7 years earlier than I had originally planned. And that has changed the trajectory of my life so much for the better. Okay, so now let's talk about happiness. What truly lights you up inside? What brings you contentment at a deep level? Because that's the second question. And answering it will also help you to figure out how much is truly enough. Because those 2 questions are interconnected and both are equally important for helping you feel confident in your decision to retire. And when I talk about true happiness, I'm not talking about the things that help ease the pain of a hectic life or conveniences. Those are different for everyone, but for me they included things like all-inclusive vacations, yoga and Pilates to help with my bad back from sitting and working long hours, meal subscriptions because I didn't have time to cook, and then expensive accessories and the latest technology. Those were all things that helped relieve my work stress or gave me a surface kind of happy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, those aren't the things that truly make me happy. They were more like time fillers, distractions, and things I needed because of my job. So what if we flip the script again? Instead of numbing the stress and spending money on distractions, focus on what truly brings us joy. So maybe it's getting your creative juices flowing, or walks in nature, or learning a new skill or sports, or whatever it is. Understanding what truly makes you happy makes it easier to let go of the other things that are keeping us trapped in earning and spending cycle because we keep spending money on them. So let me share an example with you of how figuring that out helped me get clear about retirement. So for me, my example is that I took an 8-month sabbatical and traveled the world at the tail end of COVID. I didn't have a lot of money, but I did have a lot of time, and I settled into Chiang Mai in Thailand, and I led a simple life exploring the city and surrounding areas. I didn't spend a lot of money, but I was happy, truly happy. Then I took another vacation after I came home and went to Colombia. It was a 20-day trip. I visited 4 regions of that beautiful country, and it was an amazing vacation by any standard. But you know what? Compared to Chiang Mai, it didn't really make me deeply, truly happy. And it wasn't that I inherently preferred Thailand to Colombia. The difference I realized was that I'm not crazy about taking vacations. Weird, right? For me, the joy comes from being immersed in another culture. And so that's a great thing, because living abroad in another culture for a while is a lot less expensive than going on a vacation, because you can rent an apartment long term, you don't have to spend as much money. So that was really helpful for me. So I was able to figure out what truly made me happy, and that's feeding right into my how much is truly enough, because all of a sudden my budget for vacations has come down greatly for what I want to spend in retirement. So for you, figuring out how much is truly enough and makes you happy are the interconnected keys to getting confident about your retirement. And if you're happy with your life and get joy from your day-to-day living, love your career, there's probably no great benefit to you to retiring early, and that's okay. That's great. But for many of us, there comes a time when some sort of life quake happens and it makes us take stock. So it might be a health scare or loss of a loved one. Maybe you saw a colleague retire and then pass away or get sick shortly after they retired. Whatever it is, a life quake is like holding up a mirror to your life and seeing very clearly the path that you're on. Sometimes we love what we see on that path, and other times we want to head off in a different direction. And that's what the opportunity is in those life quakes or what can seem like really difficult situations. So sometimes it manifests itself as things that you want to do right now, and you think that you might not have the health to do it later, or you just don't want to do it later, or maybe your life right now is depleting you rather than invigorating you. Whatever it is, if that's you and you're trying to make the decision to retire early, you need to look at the 3 pieces of the retirement puzzle. What makes you truly happy? Not surface level happy, but the soul stirring kind of joy. You need to shift from the mindset of how much money can I get for retirement to how much money is truly enough for my retirement, and then crunch your numbers around that. And then the last step, it's all about weighing the true cost of retiring now versus later. So consider the value of time and health alongside the dollars and cents. There's always a balance to be found. So I always use when I'm on my deathbed, what would I look back on and regret? I use that test with myself and I use it with my clients. So let me share a story that might resonate with you. One of my clients was 12 years away from retirement when she received a breast cancer diagnosis. We worked together, and through reflection and the what will I regret exercise, she found clarity. She didn't want to wait 12 years to retire, fearing that she might miss out on precious moments and things she wanted to do. But she also didn't want to dive in and leave herself financially vulnerable either. So she crafted a 3-year plan to retirement. It wasn't about rushing into the unknown. It was about living intentionally, making the most of every moment. And by the end of our time together, she said the decision was one of the easiest she's ever made, her decision to retire. It was just a no-brainer for her. So I'd love to hear what you think. Are you finding it difficult to make the decision to retire early? Does this process resonate with you? Comment below and let me know what you think.